George Washington, 6'2" and 174 pounds of pure American muscle. Kind of guy who wakes up to the smell of bacon and says, "Yep, this is what freedom smells like." This man wields a man's sword, the Bailey Ivory sword, sharp, sleek, and as powerful as a stampede of wild mustang. 5 guys attempt to replicate the Bailey Ivory sword. It's time for you to meet the Southern Steel Company. These 5 handsome fellas don't have centuries of sword making, but we have the courage of George Washington on December 25th, 1776, crossing the Delaware. To bring their vision to life, they turned to 2 cutting-edge tools, SolidWorks and Magma Simulations. First, SolidWorks. A powerful 3D CAD software allowed the engineers to create detailed, precise models of the sword, ensuring every curve, angle, and edge was exactly as intended. Next came Magma Simulations. This is where the real magic happens. Magma allowed us to simulate how molten metal would flow during the process. This allows us to predict and eliminate any issues like air pockets, uneven coolant, or weak spots in the blade. By using Magma, Southern Steel Company was able to refine the sword's design even further. Next, we made a flask for the no-bake sand mold. Grab some sturdy wood, because this flask is about to hold some sand, not your grandma's knitting supplies. Cut and assemble the wood into a box, leaving just enough space for your sand and metal masterpiece. You glue it, clamp it, and pray that it doesn't fall apart. Once it's all together, fill it with no-bake sand and your pattern. It may not be pretty, but she worked. Now find your 2 strong men to lift these heavy molds and assemble them. When you're making a no-bake sand mold for casting metal, you better add some vents or you're fixing for some trouble. Think of them like little breathing holes. Without them, molten metal is going to get backed up like a traffic jam on an old dirt road. Then we add in glue. The glue acts like a good old handshake. Holds everything together so your mold doesn't fall into pieces when you're pouring in hot metal. Once your mold is assembled, we're going to melt the 8630 steel until it's hotter than a hog on a summer day. More specifically, 3000 degrees Fahrenheit. Once it's molten, grab your mold and pour that steel in like you're filling up a glass of sweet tea. Slow and steady. Let it cool for a minute, crack open the mold like you're busting open a piñata at a party. Once everything's cooled off, we will cut the risers off from gating until we're left with just the blade. Then we polish and sharpen the blade until we can cut the hairs off our arm. We investment casted our crossguard out of stainless steel. You take your pattern and dip that sucker in a slurry and coat it in sand, just like dipping an ice cream cone in hot fudge and covering it in with sprinkles. Once it's done, preheat the shell at 1700 degrees Fahrenheit right before you pour stainless steel into it. Alright partner, next we about to forge out a tank. Once it's nice and hot, grab your hammer and start whacking. Then we move on to heat treating. Once it's nice and hot, you're going to want to quench it, which means throwing it in some oil. It cools down fast, locking in the steel into a hard structure. Then you temper it. This is like giving the steel a nice spa day. Then we carved the handle out of green epoxy and polished everything up, making it so shiny you can see your reflection in it. Look at that craftsmanship. It's cleaner than a freshly plowed field. Alright partner, it's time to test out the sword. We fixing to slice up some fruit with our shiny new sword. Who needs a knife when you got a blade sharp enough to cut through a pineapple like it's butter?
There we go. There you go.
There you have it. 5 guys, a whole lot of grit, and a dream to make a sword. From Southern Steel Co., y'all take care now.